Everybody can talk about how successful they were, and the salespeople love to brag about their numbers and how successful they are. But everybody makes mistakes, and everybody can make mistakes. And that's something that I say to everybody that I recruit: just make mistakes, try, take initiative, make mistakes, but learn from it.
Hi, I'm Steph from Headlight. Thank you for watching this video. Today we're going to talk about sales recruitment in a scale-up, and I have a very special guest today joining me, Andries from Skedify. Andries, maybe you should introduce yourself to our viewers.
I'm Andries Lepoutre, Head of Business Development and Partnerships at Skedify. Been in this role since middle of last year. I first started in a normal sales role, hired by Headlight, and then transitioned into this new role.
Yeah, because now you've hired a lot of juniors, junior profiles, I think around 5 or so. What do you do differently? Because of course in Ghent, for us, it's like Valhalla of tech scale-ups. A lot of tech scale-ups there, a lot of people, a lot of companies looking for SDRs, BDRs, junior profiles. What do you do differently, you think, to attract those profiles?
You talk about the vision, you talk about where the company is heading towards. At the same time, we really have a procedure right now that we really believe in, where we take our time and at the same time don't waste time. But we spread it out over a different number of sessions, and we can go really fast in about 2 weeks maybe, but at the same time we don't want to cut one step away from that process. Because it's, in our belief, every step is beneficial for both the candidate and us. So we, for example, I always recommend to any candidate that starts to at least have 1 or 2 phone calls with peers for any company that they apply with. And even if they have the chance to spend half a day on the floor, just to understand what the vibe is like, how our culture is interacting with each other, colleagues interacting with each other. And I think one thing that I heard is that candidates appreciate the personal approach. The fact that when they start, they have a very clear idea what they can expect, what they can expect today, and what the company will hopefully look like in a number of years. Yeah,
because you also told me that once they're hired, you really look at their personal skills, and depending on their personal skills, you give them, they grow into a certain role. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. So I think for young people, the most important thing is learning. I mean, it's for everyone, but especially for young people because they're fresh. They don't have so much experience, yet they're one of the most important pieces of capital in your company.
And they have so many options.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So, and there's not like, for example, a single path for them. It's not like when you start in as a junior sales rep that you become an account executive, and after which you become a first line manager. After which you become.
That's a good point that you mentioned, that it's not per se SDR, whatever. So in order to do that, so because we realize they're in it for the long run, so we don't necessarily hire on the skills that they need for a junior sales alone. We really look at the personality. The grinta, that's a word I use a lot in my in people that I hire. It's in perseverance and the fighting spirit. Of course, their intelligence is important as well. But in order to let them discover themselves what really appeals to them, we give them, for example, quarterly special projects in other departments. So there's one person that has been with us for a year now in a junior sales role, and she has done a project in a sales. Solution architecture, customer success, because she didn't know what really triggered her interest. They're small projects, they're feasible projects, yet they are given a lot of responsibility, and they feel that they really contribute to Skedify as a whole. And today she realizes, look, I've done those projects, and I feel a certain appeal towards customer success. Because the project, the helping customers, for example, that's something that really, and I don't want to pin myself down on that one role, and I'm not ready to transition to that role yet, but I feel that of the 3 projects, that was the one that really appealed to me the most. But correct me if I'm wrong, but those projects are all in a sort of customer-facing role, right?
Yeah. So because you need to look, of course, at the skill set that these people have. You cannot put them in a development role, but please write some code. And then by tomorrow, that doesn't work.
Yeah, of course. But if someone, for example, you notice as BDR manager that someone is rather a customer success profile, will that have impact on our daily SDR or BDR tasks?
No, not really, because they really realize what the job is that they are signing for. Those are skills that they want to learn, because they realize those are, calling, interacting with customers, talking to high-level people. That's really something that you can use in any step in your career. And it doesn't matter if you end up becoming self-employed, sales, or doing something completely different. I always tell them that the skills that you learn in your first sales job are skills that you always can use in any type of job. And for example, there's somebody else in the junior sales team, Fred. He's a very smart guy, very, very analytical. So he leans more towards the solution architecture stuff. So he really wants to understand the product. So I think he's more appealed to projects in, towards the technical side of Skedify. So,
is that something you take into account when hiring new juniors, or do you hire them and then see what's possible?
I would say that ambition and I wouldn't say that, for example, that I look at that when I hire people. I don't look at the existing skill set or the potential skill set, because anything can happen, of course. But I won't. At the contrary, I won't hire somebody for their if I don't believe that person one day might transition into a new role at Skedify. But I don't know what that role might be. That's up to them to decide and discover with us together over the role.
And what are the key elements that say you look for in a good junior sales or in any sales profile?
In any sales profile, I would say coachability. Perseverance, so that's the grinta again. I think make mistakes. It's just try. That's what I always say. Just try, make mistakes, but learn from it. And if something goes wrong, I think just by looking at yourself and analyzing what went wrong, putting it in sixth gear. Do you need to step up your volume? Is it the quality problem? Do you understand the product well? Those are all questions that need to be asked, but they need to ask it themselves. And I think so. Self-reflection. Those are all key soft elements that are important when you hire salespeople, because you cannot hold their hands all the time. They need to be have the right mentality, the good drive to wanting to be successful. So if somebody misses their quarter. Okay, that can happen, and they say, "Well, okay, I missed my quarter.
What happened?
Too bad." Then my stomach cringes a bit. Because that's not the right way to look at it. You can miss your quarter. That's fine. But then the next quarter comes up. Okay, what did go well? What did go wrong? What are you going to do about it? And that's important. And if you have that reflects yourself, then you have a plus, I would say.
That's also where you try to be a real coach of those junior profiles.
I try to.
Okay. So. And what would you say that is different now? Because you started, correct me if I'm wrong, you started as a junior sales at Showpad, right? You already had some experience, but not a lot. What would you say is different starting as a junior now compared to a few years ago?
I think there's a lot more competition in the markets. So back in the days, the companies that in Ghent, there was a lot of buzz about were Showpad, Intuo, Team Leader, Silverfin maybe. But now there's so much more competition. Everybody's doing SaaS nowadays, and it's not only Ghent. It's Brussels, it's Antwerp, it's Leuven. So there's a lot more competition. So you need to sell the idea, sell the dream. Of course, I'm at the other side. I need to recruit, so I wasn't doing that back in the days. But I think you need to sell the dream, sell the journey, because everybody's doing SaaS, and the junior sales role, I would say, in a way, is similar over the different companies that are recruiting. So you make the difference in explaining and selling the dream and explaining where the company is heading towards, and showing to them that they might be on a new rocket ship, I would say, like I was lucky to be on 5 years ago.
All right, thanks, Andries. And then to round up, we ask every person that comes on interview on the episode the same question. The final question is, what 3 key questions do you ask a sales candidate in the first interview?
Well, one important question that I always ask and that I attach a lot of value on is asking about somebody's failures. Because everybody can talk about how successful they were, and the salespeople love to brag about their numbers and how successful they are. But everybody makes mistakes, and everybody can make mistakes. And that's something that I say to everybody that I recruit: just make mistakes, try, take initiative, make mistakes, but learn from it. So if you ask about somebody's mistakes in the past, what you ask about, so what did you do wrong, or what mistakes did you make in the past, in what way? How did you learn from that, and how do you apply those learnings today? If somebody can give like a reliable answer there, I would say that's a really important answer. And then the responses that you get back, that's really important in understanding somebody's sincerity, understanding somebody's coachability. More so than asking about somebody's successes.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Andries, for all the insights. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for next episodes. Thank you, bye-bye.